Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to go over what my birth plan is going to be. So let me start off by just explaining to you. Basically, a birth plan is a list of things that are important to you during your birth. And while a birth plan almost rarely ever goes fully to plan, it's good to have some sort of outline for yourself and for the people who are around you while you are giving birth. Because having already given birth to my son Cooper, I can tell you that you get to a point with the contractions where you are just sort of focusing on that and only that. And decisions do have to kind of be made throughout that time that you're not really able to make because you're focusing so much on the contractions. It makes me kind of chuckle when I hear someone say that they definitely want to be able to eat through the entirety of their labor, but they don't want to have any type of pain management either. Because let me tell you, girlfriends, you're gonna get to a point in your labor where you're not gonna want to eat anything. Because food is the last thing on your mind. You basically get to a point in the labor where you are focusing so much on getting through each contraction that that's all that you can think of. So also there's sort of this starting stigma when it comes to a birth plan, where if you go in with way too many expectations, then I feel like most nursing staffs feel like, you know, they're kind of frustrated by it. They kind of are just you know, ugh, here we go, a girl with a really huge birth plan. I personally think that keeping it short and sweet and keeping it very, you know, direct, these are the things that I really want to try to accomplish, situation permitting. So I think that that is how I went with Cooper's birth plan, and that's kind of how I'm gonna go with baby girl's birth plan as well. There were a lot of things that I had on Cooper's birth plan that didn't end up happening because of for whatever reason, and when I get to those during this video, I'll just quickly mention that this is something I wasn't able to do and why. However, on the bump.com there is actually a really long comprehensive list of all of the different options you have more or less while you're giving birth and the information that's important to tell. So I thought, why not go through the list, and I will let you know, one, what your options are, because you're going to be able to see them on the screen. But you also will get to know what my personal birth plan is going to be. So let's get started. Now I'm going to have my phone out because this is quite the long list and I don't want to keep doing this for you guys. So I am going to just have it out. You can look at my pretty new case. My case is by Rifle Paper Company. I got it off of Amazon, so I'll link it in our Amazon page for you, but it's gorgeous and I'm obsessed with it. Anyway, okay. They basically tell you to put all of your information, you know, full name, partner's name, all that stuff there. That's obviously good information to have so that your name is on your birth plan. It says, please note that I have any of those. I actually don't have any of them. My delivery is planned as, my delivery is planned as a vaginal delivery, but I actually would like to have a water birth. So I would probably put both of those. I'm gonna do vaginal, but then I would do water birth preferred to be present before and or during labor. So my partner, which is my husband Dan, and then I'm also going to be having my BFF there as well. She's gonna help me during labor and just kind of be a support system for both of us. And then she's also going to help us with capturing the moment and stuff like that and whatnot. So those are the two people I'm going to have in the room with me. During labor, my hospital is very just amazing when it comes to stuff like this. I don't feel the need to say that I want music played, especially with it being provided by me, because they say that I can just play music. So this is not something that I personally feel needs to be written down on your birth plan, because adding too many details like this might sort of take away from the more important details. So this is something that I would just kind of negate altogether. The lights are going to be dim to begin with, and the room should be quiet as possible anyway. So I don't see the point in really adding those. I do want to have as few vaginal exams as possible, but that's something that my hospital naturally does to begin with. I do not mind having students. I was like, by all means, come on in. Like, I was a medical student at one point, multiple times actually, so I have no issue whatsoever having a student like watch, observe, or whatnot. I have no problem with that stuff. Once again, not something I'm gonna put on my birth plan though. Wear my own clothes, I'm gonna do that, but they allow me to film, that's gonna happen, but like that I don't need to put on my birth plan. So all of these things, to eat, all these things I don't have to add to my birth plan. I'd like to spend my first stage of labor. See, this is the thing where it's like, you can go in thinking you're gonna do one thing. Like, I brought my yoga ball with me for Cooper's pregnancy thinking that's all I was gonna sit on the whole labor, and it ended up being like the worst thing. It just felt so terrible and I never ended up using it. So I think it's certain things like this where you try to plan out your entire labor makes the nurses like eye roll a little bit. You can do whatever you want to do. If you want to have like 2 different lists, you have one for yourself so that you kind of have like a game plan written on paper, and then you have one for like the nursing staff, just like pinpointing all of like the really important things. That's personally how like I would go about doing it. I don't really know how I'm gonna spend the first stage of labor because things change. I'm not interested in any of those. So yeah, but I'm just not gonna have any of those. I want it to be intermittent if possible, so basically I would just have it done in like stages. These are like all things that I have a very like relaxed way of going about labor, so I'm okay not adding any of these to my birth plan because who knows what the situation might be. So I'm just gonna make these decisions when I kind of have a better understanding of like what's happening. For pain relief, I'm basically just gonna write only what I request at the time, because it's only what I request at the time. Like, yeah. During delivery, I would like to, I want to be in the birthing tub, so I'd probably write that, but that kind of goes with having a water birth. So I will bring none of these. I'm going to bring my yoga ball with me again. Maybe this time it will be different and I'll actually really like it, but that's the only thing that I'm going to end up bringing. As the baby is delivered, I would like to, I don't even know. I mean, I'd like to push spontaneously, obviously, but I also don't mind pushing as directed, because with a water birth, you're not really hooked up to the monitors, so only I would know when I was having contractions. They wouldn't know when I was having contractions, so it would be something that I would just naturally, through the water birth, be able to do. Like, I would just push when I was ready to push. Also, it being my second pregnancy, I kind of have a better understanding of what I'm going into. I don't really care about like mirror, touch the head as it crowns, I don't want to have forceps. I don't want to have a vacuum. If I'm having a water birth, I 100% want to be the person catching the baby. Like, I totally want to be that person. Yeah, like, I just like totally want to be that person. Episiotomy. So I did have a tear with Cooper's pregnancy and it healed so nicely, and it never hurt me. I didn't feel it when it happened. I didn't feel it afterwards. I just like healed so nicely. So I don't think I'd want an episiotomy. I think I'm okay with just tearing naturally if that happens. Immediately after delivery, I want my partner to cut the umbilical cord. Dan was actually technically not able to do that. What ended up happening was Cooper was born, his shoulder got caught a little bit. That had really nothing to do with the umbilical cord, but when he came out, the umbilical cord was wrapped around his neck, and I think just the combination of him kind of being in limbo for a little while with the shoulder, cord being wrapped around his neck, she ended up cutting the cord right away, so I wasn't able to do delayed cord clamping as well, and they put him on my chest right away, but then he wasn't really breathing the way that he should be, so they ended up taking him and brought him over for oxygen and like better suctioning. So there was a few things right then and there that I wasn't really able to do, but I had like the most textbook birth except for that little part. So like things can go wrong all the time, and it not even wrong in like a dangerous way, just different than your birth plan. So it's good regardless of making this plan you need to go into it just kind of expecting that things might go a little bit differently than how you have it written down, but it's always good to be prepared and to voice your opinions and, you know, your wishes beforehand anyway. I definitely want to do delayed cord clamping, and I want Dan to cut the cord. I'm just gonna skip over the C-section because I just like would rather not be prepared for one. as like selfish and immature as that sounds, I just like, I would rather make any of those decisions right then and there rather than actually think about what the possibility is of like having a C-section. As of right now, she's head down, and Cooper was head down the majority of my pregnancy as well, and she's the same, so I'm just kind of going with the fact that I'm going to be able to have a vaginal birth. I would like to hold my baby immediately after delivery. I would like to breastfeed as soon as possible after delivery, yes. What I want my family members to be able to do is exactly what happened last time in my hospital. I gave birth to the placenta, was stitched up. Cooper breastfed for the first time in the room. He was put into a cart and wheeled over with Dan to the like recovery room that I had, and I went to the bathroom with the nurse because that's what they have you do. They have you like go to the bathroom right away. And I walked over to the other room that we were going to be like recovering in and spending the next few days in. And we were going to have our family come right away into the room, but then I realized that Dan had never even held Cooper yet. So I was so happy that I caught that before anybody else came in, and Dan was able to hold Cooper, and it was just us three, and he didn't feel, you know, like overwhelmed by the idea of like holding his baby for the first time, even though he refused to hold him standing up, which I still to this day just makes me want to cry because I think it's like the cutest thing in the world. He was so scared that he was gonna just like hurt his new little baby. So yeah, so he sat down, and I actually had to get up out of bed to pick him up and to bring him over to Dan, which is just like the sweetest thing ever. And he held his son for the first time, and he just kind of got to absorb his son and everything like that. And then we invited our family in, and we had visitors all day long, every day, and people came and went as they pleased. But yeah, it was really nice, and I really would like that again. I loved having that alone time, just us three. The baby's medical exam and procedures. So basically at my hospital, the baby's room in with you all the time. There's actually no nursery, there's only a NICU. The baby's always in the room with me, and I will see all of the medical tests done, everything like that. I think the only time they take him away is if you get procedure done, like a circumcision or something like that. With me, these are all things, guys, that you should definitely be figuring out beforehand too. Take this list, go through it. The things that you have questions about, don't be afraid to contact your hospital and ask them, like, you know, what they do. Go on the hospital tour, ask all these questions, bring your list of questions with you. It was really nice for us to go to the hospital tour because we were able to just ask all of these like random questions that we had. They're gonna get everything. I'm not gonna give the baby a pacifier, they're not gonna get formula, they're not gonna get sugar water. Vitamin K, I think. I have to look into what vitamin K does again. The antibiotic eye treatment, yeah, I got it with Cooper, it was fine. I think they did vitamin K too with Cooper as well. They also did the hepatitis B vaccine as well, which I'm not too concerned about. My new pediatrician actually said, she was like, there's really no point in you doing it, like you'll be fine. But I still haven't decided yet what I'm going to do there. I'd like baby's first bath to be given. I honestly don't mind, like they took Cooper and did the bath away. I wouldn't really mind if they wanted to do the bath like in the room this time. It doesn't really matter. I would like to feed my baby only with breast milk and on demand. That is how I fed Cooper, and that is how this baby will be fed as well. My milk came in really fast, very, very fast. Like the day I gave birth to Cooper, I had like milk squirting everywhere. I don't know why. I don't know if it's gonna be the same with this baby, but we will find out. I'd like the baby to stay in my room all the time. I'd like my partner, obviously, to have unlimited visiting. I actually do need to add to my birth plan though that my plan is to, if permitted, to stay only one night instead of two, because they were going to let me to leave one day early with Cooper, but it just didn't end up working out time-wise. So I would really like to, if it's possible, to only spend one night away from my family. I just think it'd be so much easier to be at home recovering and to like just be comfortable at home. I don't need to spend another night alone in the hospital. As needed post-delivery, please give me, yeah, I didn't really need any like pain medication or anything like that. These are also things you don't need to add to your birth plan, because these are all things that you can talk about because you're not going to be in excruciating pain at that point. So these are all things that you can advocate for yourself. I feel like the point of a birth plan is sort of getting lost in these long comprehensive lists, because the point of a birth plan is to advocate what your wishes when you can't advocate them. So like saying like what time you want your visitors to show up, that's something you can just talk about afterwards. Like that's not something that needs to just, you know, be on the same page as like what types of pushing you want to do. Do you get what I'm saying? So I picked this list because it was great. We could go over all the options. You guys can see all the options that are there, but I definitely would remove like majority of the stuff that's on here. If baby is not well, I like my partner and I to accompany it to the NICU, or Dan obviously will go to the NICU with the baby if something's wrong. And I obviously want to hold the baby whenever is possible, and I want to breastfeed or provide breast milk as well. These are all things, once again though, that I can just talk about afterwards with the staff. So that looks like that is it. Let me know if anything is different at your hospital. I feel like everything's different at every single hospital, so I'm sure there's gonna be just like so much just like different information in the comment section right now. But anyway, that is going to be my birth plan. Thank you guys for hanging out with me for a little while. Please subscribe if you are new to our channel. We are going to have a baby very, very soon, and I cannot wait to upload a birth vlog. It's so exciting. Alrighty guys, see you soon. Bye.